Okay. So we created a name that was too close to what our company already had in place, and we got shut down. So we did everything you can imagine, like to get the name out there. Our new name is Premier Wealth Builders, and that allows us, it's kind of a blessing in disguise that this event happened, because this allows us to own our company. Whereas before we were an arm or a leg or a little toe of
Some appendage.
the biggest company. And you know, they have an awful lot of lawyers there that are, and advisory boards, and you know, they're monitoring, as well they should, that people don't make false claims and don't use their copyrighted material, and you know, they have all that stuff in place. But the blessing in disguise is we were able to 100% embrace a whole new name that's really ours, that you know, has websites that are ours, information that's ours. So the blessing in disguise, you gotta just kind of roll with the punches and see what's the blessing in this. So we embrace the blessing that we are now Premier Wealth Builders.
Yeah, and I want to thank Casey. He's been our coach and mentor for several years, pretty much building that company that we had earlier today into, and then we came up, luckily we just happenstance came up with Premier Wealth Builder, which was available, so that was another, it's another good blessing. So now we can expand not just with our legal service to make sure your assets are protected, but also to build wealth, because we have been working on our real estate business for 20 years. So as real estate investors, business owners, we've acquired a lot of different assets and stuff. So we've gone through and learned how to protect them. So we want to share all that information for you. So I guess Premier Wealth Builder becomes broader. And it's like either you sink or swim, right? You lose a job, you start something new. Either you can fall down and cry, which we kind of did at the beginning. We're like, what? You know? And,
They did.
We couldn't breathe.
We're like, what do we do? What do we do? Like, how do we come up with a name even, right? Because you can't start if you don't have a name. And then we've just been every day. I think if you focus on activity and just focus on that rather than the results right now, because you never know, some things good might happen, and then you just take it a day at a time. I think we've been working on day and night, just trying to change as many things as we can, as much as we can, until we get back to whole again. So we're not even thinking about what if, we're just like, this is what we need to do. And so I want to thank Casey too, because he's been helping us, and Ryan, who's also doing like our background, you know, internet or digital marketing type system to help us change all that too.
Yes.
Do you also have the name trademarked, or a corporation that oversees that domain, so you have additional protection against it all?
Not yet.
Okay.
We just came up with a name like a few weeks ago.
In this case, that's sort of stage two. Here, this is such a great conversation and discussion. Can I just layer on my, like, above the org chart, looking at this? One of the things that I think is really important for all of us as investors, as business owners, is to not play in somebody else's sandbox and not play under somebody else's marquee, because that marquee can change at any given time, right? So for example, I work with a lot of real estate agents, and they are all branding Keller Williams, Compass, Epic, all of this stuff, and so they put out all this branding for the other company, and then that company goes away or changes, or they change jobs, or the companies merge, and now they've got thousands of videos saying Keller Williams, or thousands of pieces of content out there that say, you know, Berkshire Hathaway, or network marketing companies are the same. You see them all over the place where people will brand that company. as a consultant to those companies on a corporate level, I'm the guy behind closed doors going, we got to get these people to brand us by doing all their videos and everything, da 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 da, right? But if I take myself out of that and I put myself in the other side of the desk, what you really want to be able to do is build the brand of you. And whatever that looks like, because the brand of you doesn't change, it can always evolve, right? And so with their previous brand, what ended up happening was it was a little too close to another company, and another company stepped in because they had it protected and said, you're too close, change. And luckily, they owned all their assets, they owned all their social media accounts, so that without that, we would have had to start completely fresh. But it was really easy because they set the foundation up. Their emails are all owned by them, their database is all owned by them, their social media communities are all owned by them. Now it's just about going in and changing names, getting that satisfied, and then moving on. So, as a guy that deals with this all day, every day, please build the brand of you before you build the brand of somebody else. I see it in real estate all the time. Nobody is hiring you as a listing agent or a broker because you are attached to Compass or Keller Williams or Berkshire or anything. They are hiring you first, backed by brand. Build your brand first. Who cares who you're with? That's my opinion. I'm sure I'll have some pushback from the owners of those guys, but anyways.
I would just add one thing.
Yeah.
What we thought was, by adding another word onto the name, that was going to change it enough. But it turns out our company owns their company, the company we are a part of, owns or has jurisdiction over all the words. So by just adding one little word onto the name of one of those channels wasn't enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me about talk to us for just a couple of seconds about the previous brand that they were building. Does everybody here know that, other than the three of you that are brand new, do you all remember the old brand name?
Is Women Justice League something?
Yeah.
I thought maybe Hollywood had come after you for the Justice League part.
We thought that, but they didn't. That was what was great about it.
Yeah, it was amazing.
But one of the challenges I think in that brand was it talked about ladies, and I think one of the things that happened is they are very, very smart real estate investors and very, very smart wealth accumulators, and have the ability to train and teach dudes and gals all about this. Do you feel that with the new branding that this will open up the opportunity for you to have bigger and different conversations?
Yeah, somebody said more inclusive. It's more inclusive, which we weren't even thinking of that. We were just thinking about, we got to come up with a name really fast, and came up with that. So yeah, it is. It's nice being more inclusive.
Quick question. Does this change your relationship with any of the legal assets that you have available to you? I mean, with the...
Yeah, so I had to word things differently and not use legal. So in our home marketing thing, I say asset protection.
Right.
Because it includes making sure you have your rights protected, learning about land trust, the whole title of your property, as compared to just an LLC. And in fact, I have a whole newsletter article that says why you shouldn't use an LLC to hold title. Anyway, it kind of goes into more events, more inclusive, like I said, asset protection.
I'm saying you still have the same network of attorneys available to you. Like,
Yeah.
that those relationships haven't changed.
Right. That's why we had to change so we could maintain that same relationship.
There you go.
So can I break this down, and I'll say it so you guys don't have to. So they work under a broader umbrella of a big, giant, nationwide legal services company that owned a lot of the names and brand names, and they're an attorney firm. So to think that they are well protected is an understatement. So what happens is, when you have a team like Lois and Amy that are bringing more and more customers to the table, on the surface we would think that's a really good thing, and at the same time they also start seeing it as a very large expense paying for customer referrals that have already existed. So as you get higher in visibility, all of a sudden there are a lot more eyeballs that start looking around going, we want to make sure that everybody's playing by the same set of rules. And they are just doing extremely well. They are growing. They have been number 1 in the country. I think last month. This month they're number 4 in the country out of, I don't know, what are there, 100,000? Something like 100,000. What?
Yeah, I said there's a lot. We don't know.
Yeah, crap ton of people that are out there representing this. So they just have more eyeballs and more scrutiny. And for as awful as this is, I mean, it did cause for an afternoon of Xanax and martinis. But after that, this new brand will give them a far better, broader base. And now the company itself doesn't have a whole lot that they can say if they want to talk about other services and other things that they do. They don't. They get to broaden their spectrum of people that they work with.
There's 1.5 million.
Oh yeah, there's only 1.5 million reps around this. So when you're number 1 in the country, eyeballs tend to come in and get a little bit more focused. So
Is that fake?
yeah, they get to write bigger checks, and when somebody writes a bigger check, all of a sudden they're like, yeah. Anyways, I just think you are a great example of an entrepreneur, a group of entrepreneurs that have understood that you can get mad, or you can just move on and just deal with it. We don't make anything by looking in the past. So
What is that? Roll with the punches. We're rolling with
yeah.
it.
I sometimes will say you can be right or you can be rich.
No.
Pick one. Right?